Hello there, and welcome back to Global Formula Automobilista for Season 3, as we move on to the 2000 spec cars for what should be an enthralling season. Slightly smaller grid than we've seen before, but if you're watching this and you're not signed up, join in because we've got plenty of space. Well, the Brazilian Grand Prix here in the capital city of Brasilia, at the Autodromo Nelson Piquet. We have a new face on pole, as Nico Hulkenberg, making his debut for DTK Racing, leads a DTK 1-2. The team has kept Antonio Felix to Costa, sacked off Chris Hoy for Nico Hulkenberg, and well, they're 1 and 2 on the grid. Sterling Moss is in third place for the Red Knight, ahead of Milos Pavlovic, who is the Serbian driver for the Serbian team, also making his debut in the brand new Red Knight. Nick Heidfeld has moved across from high tech because I was going to say he's lost his seat there, but the seat is gone. So Heidfeld takes the cast over, and he's in 5th, ahead of his teammate Lewis Hamilton, the defending drivers' champion, in 6th place. So it's a bit Noah's Ark as they come in 2 by 2 at the front. But from then on, well, it splits up now. Ayrton Senna taking 7th, Falcon Motorsport ahead of Phil Hill in the Excelsior. John Watson in the 2KF1 is in 9th place, ahead of Alexander Rossi making his debut in 10th place. Mika Hakkinen in the 2KF1 takes 11th, ahead of Alain Prost in 12th. Beitske Visser in the NLE Motorsport is in 13th, ahead of Sebastian Vettel in the now pink Harvey Racing. Jenson Button in the other Harvey is 15th, ahead of Scott Dixon in the slightly basic liveried Siggy Pop, hoping for a slightly covered in sponsors livery soon for this car. Max Verstappen, Season 1 champion, in 17th, so his season is starting out just as well as the last one did. And Dan Gurney rounding out the grid in 18th place, and moved across from Excelsior to Siggy Pop. The cars lining up on the grid. Start to see them all take their places. And here we go, 56 laps here at Brasilia. And Global Formula Automobilista Season 3 is go. The terrible start and jump there from Felix to Costa, as Moss gets past and Hulkenberg sits in the front. Pavlovic trying to go around the outside of Hulkenberg. Costa, but he's going to be held out wide. And Senna goes through. And we've got them quite many times wide as we head down into the second corner. Senna up to 5th. Pavlovic is there stepping up Moss. He's got Felix da Costa coming back at him as they head through turn 3 up into the long sweeping turn 4. Who's going to get the position? Felix has got the inside. And he makes the move stick. Moss is in 3rd. Pavlovic in 4th. Senna back there in 5th. Heidfeld up down to 6th and out. So both casts have lost places as Senna's got past both of them. Heidfeld having a look back. Phil Hill in 8th there as Prost has made up a few places. Vettel there is battling with Gurney, who's up from the back. So the Harveys and the Siggy Pots battling here for last place. And I'm going to head through next section of corners. So Hulkenberg has the lead. Hulkenberg is going to keep the lead for the moment. He's got just a second almost onto his teammate Felix da Costa in 2nd place. Moss and the Red Knights are following behind, doing what they can. Let's get up past. Pavlovic on his debut, just holding off Senna for the moment. Have a little crest as they head into turn 4. I need to remember what the corner names are. Here we go, Alain Prost having a look at Phil Hill at the inside. A long corner, Hill's on the outside, but he will have the inside of the next 2 corners, but Prost is through. Prost has made the move on Phil Hill. Head now through these sweeping turns into kind of a little back straight area. It's a tricky braking point coming ahead. There's not really any reference points for the drivers to work out where to throw on the anchors to get it slowed down. But they've all made it so far, which is kind of what you were hoping, because otherwise they'd all be in the wall and then it'd be a bit of a mess. But we move. Head towards the final corner at Jinsao. Finish the lap as Watson has got past Hakkinen. They've worked their way both out past Alexander Rossi. Both two F1s. Felix Excelsior, but Rossi on the inside gets the back. He's got the move back again on Mika Hakkinen into turn 1. Good move there from the American on his debut. Hakkinen in the slipstream. Not to make the move into 2 yet. Any thought about it though? Because I mean, well, why wouldn't you think about it? I mean, you could have a taking spot if you can make it work. So Verstappen's up to 13th already. Visser's dropped a bit. Gurney's made the move and Dixon has dropped into last. There we go, so Nico Hulkenberg's leading. His gap's dropping. It's just under a second to his teammate Felix Costa. So DTK Racing got they got nice really when it came to the updates. Went for power, got a load of power, and their drivers don't look too bad either this season, but no downforce updates yet and no gearbox, so we're stuck on short gears. I think Hulkenberg sets the fastest laps. Look, he's almost topped out 197 down that pretty short straight really, so as that gearbox gets changed they could very easily find themselves banging it on the limiter. I suppose with the low downforce and low drag, what do you expect? Red Knight also, they got pretty good power in their car, only slightly below the DTKs, but again, low downforce, short gearbox. Falcon pretty decent, not quite as much power as the rest, and Cass went for power as well. So really at the moment this track is the power cars are up front. Phil Hill in 9th for Excelsior. This is the first of 2 teams on the grid, no sorry 3 teams which have managed to go for the downforce upgrade, so getting their downforce buy done already. Those of you who follow the championship, you'll know that we used to have ultra low, low and high downforce. This year we've scrapped that, we've just got low downforce and high downforce, and we've got short and long gearboxes instead. And the Excelsior have gone straight, stuck downforce on the car. That's the big spend done. They can now focus on buying the power. They don't need to save up for downforce, which I think a few of the bigger teams are going to find is going to be a struggle at some point. So Excelsior gone for the downforce. 2KF1, another team would have gone for the downforce. So out of everyone that's got some, not as much power, the downforce boys are definitely leading it away. NLE, they decided to go for the gearbox upgrade, so we'll see what speeds they do down the straight. They haven't really got the power, but you can see they're doing 190, they're doing 200 miles an hour basically in 6th gear. So when we get to a track with much longer straights, they're going to be sorted. So the gearbox upgrade working so far, but they haven't got the power or the speed in order to deal with it. But when they put some more power in it, they've got the gearbox that will be able to deal with the extra speed. Telling the Harvey, they went for some driver upgrades really. They got really unlucky with their power randomization, as it went to pretty much the bottom of their list. Went for a bit of power but got screwed over, but it was luck of the draw. Well, Siggy Pop had gone for downforce but got really unhappy with the power, as Gurney has a really sideways moment there over that curb. It gets tricky as you go through the middle sector, and he was lucky not to go flying there. The Hulkenberg leads. He's brought the gap up to 1.8 seconds now, so Felix Costa's falling away. as the Red Knights are sat around trying to catch up. But the battle for second is still close, as Senna's, I was going to say lack of power, it's only 0.01% down on the Red Knights. Senna's not as good a driver as the others, which is going to be his problem. I will catch up, but he's doing a good job at the moment. Still sat in 5th, he's ahead of Heidfeld and defending drivers champion Hamilton. And they're not being able to get past at the moment. Let's do this. Of course, we've got some new onboard cameras for the season, so we can test them out. And of course, this is going to be our first test of the new cars. But there we go. Rossi and Watson side by side over the curb. Rossi on the inside. Watson forcing Rossi wide. Rossi holding it around the outside. But you can't do it at the bank corner. Just allow Watson to keep the speed going. Hakkinen follows, but he loses pace through the middle. Rossi up the inside in the final corner. It's a daring move if he does it. It's a supremely daring move, and Rossi is past, but Watson in the slipstream. Going to have another battle. He's going to go up the inside of Rossi into turn 1. Is he? No, Rossi holds it, but they're both sideways. Back down. The back straight into turn 2. Hakkinen's going to make this 3 wide. The 2 F1's nearly contact. Hakkinen backs out. Hakkinen spins out. Mika Hakkinen spins out. Well, I can't remember what place he was in. But he was 3 wide, was never going to work, and he's just lucky he didn't take his teammate out. But in all of this, Rossi's got ahead. Rossi is ahead as Hakkinen's down to 15th now. I think you can guess what the livery is a tribute to on the new 2KF1. But look at this, 3 wide. He had the double slipstream, he went for it, too much curb, and he's gone round. He kept it pointing the same way, dumped the clutch, and we've driven off, not losing too many places. So Hakkinen there down to 15th. What can he do to catch up? But Helfroth flips the correct way. Watson now staring at the back of Rossi again. Here we go, over the shoulder camera. Ooh, I need to go and turn the mirrors on. I don't know which button I pressed to turn that off. Well, they are working, just not in that camera for some reason. Who knows? Answers on a postcard, please, or in the comments. Yeah, chuck a comment on this video, why not? It's a bit boring when there's nothing underneath. Phil Hill here, starting to follow Prost. Prost is up 4 places. He's kind of, let's see who's the biggest move. So Hulkenberg's where he started, Felix, Costa, top 4 are where they started. Senna was up 2. I think Hill's close to Prost, but he's not really going to do anything at the moment. Yeah, the Castas have gone down. Prost is up 4, which is a brilliant start from the Balkans. They're up 6 places, both of them. What's that doing? Verstappen up 5. That is a good start. Yeah, I mean, he's jumped his teammate. And Hakkinen's lost 4, but that was a spin, so, well, what do you expect? It's a spin. You're going to lose time, and the fact he only lost 3 places in the spin was impressive. Hill here trying to work out how to get past Prost. I mean, look at this, down the straight, Prost is just disappearing. He's got plenty of power over the Excelsior. The Excelsior has got the downforce in the corners, which will be helping him all through here. Although taking that curb that hard won't be helping him. Hill just needs to work out, because the big braking points, or the kind of the end of the straights, are all quite fast corners. They're leading on to this final corner, Yin Sao, at 120 miles an hour he was taking that. It's a really fast corner if you're taking it properly. So Hill just needs to stick past Prost, get in the slipstream. I mean, look, he's much tighter through there. But Prost, with that low downforce and the extra power, is just able to pull away. Even the slipstream, Hill was doing 193, but that was sliding again from Prost. up to Hill to find a way through though. Now it comes to pit stops for this lot. It's looking like it's all tyre wear related rather than fuel, because they're all going into pits without any fuel warnings. So, brilliant. Hopefully it means we won't have any more drivers running out of fuel. The thing I forgot to do in testing was test what happened if I lumped tyre management up to 100%, if that could force or get drivers to stop at less times. But I think, we'll put it this way, tyre management is going to be, because tyre wear is what they're all pitting for. If your tyre management skill is better, your driver should be quicker over a stint with his tyres, because they should last, and not necessarily last longer, but they'll lose less life as it goes down. So I also haven't done the testing because I'm competing in this, and I want me to also find out naturally while this game is being played how useful it is. So yeah, it's kind of half I forgot, half I didn't want to do it to keep myself in the competitive advantage. Well, saying that, first and second, yeah, it's a bit awkward. Anyway, so Moss is keeping up here with Felix, Costa and Hulkenberg. They do what they can. Felix Costa's back to 1.5 seconds-ish behind. Moss is sticking there. Pavlovic is falling away a bit, 1.7. We've still got 3 seconds back to Senna. Senna is holding up Heidfeld and Hamilton, although they're not really looking to get past that easily. So maybe they're not holding him up. Hill has now got Rossi right behind, so Hill is definitely stuck behind Prost, because Rossi wouldn't have flown up behind as quickly if he wasn't stuck. We'll watch on Prost's rear wing. See the rear of the Falcon as the two Excelsiors hunting down into the first corner. I mean, look at this first corner, 120 miles per hour minimum speed. It's super fast in these cars. The Sander V10s also glorious. Turn 3 taking just under 100 miles an hour, which is a few kilometre guys. Is 161. There you go. 100 miles an hour, 160 kilometres an hour. As Phil Hill has really dropped back down that straight. He's either made a mistake, or that is just the power of the Falcon. Hill following Prost. Everything seems fine at the moment. Oh, he's had a twitch of some sort. That must have been he's just invented a bus stop chicane for no reason. Oh, it's happened on the gear change. As he's changed up to fifth, something has not been happy in the transmission. It's just made him slide a little bit. So Hill now is going to be under pressure from Rossi, especially as Rossi is under pressure from Watson. This pack has really dropped Verstappen and his friends, as this is kind of a backmarker bunch. So we'll see how they all spread out. Despite all this, Hill is flying back behind Prost. Prost has not got away after all this. This 27.3 is not what any of these guys wanted to see, especially as Watson's gone half a second quicker than Rossi. No, that one. Felix Costa now under pressure for a Moss still. He's had to be holding him back this entire race, trying to work out how he can get past Felix Costa. Felix just seems to have the power on him down the straights. Rossi's keeping up. Rossi's definitely doing what he can, but at the moment, I mean, he might be playing the long game. He's definitely within his rights to play the long game. Felix is a bit wobbly off that corner. There's some really, really high and evil curbs on this track, which you don't want to fight with too often. I think there's a really strong battle here for 15. Yes, there is. It's Hakkinen and Gurney. I'll have to go back and see what's happening. So Gurney's right on Hakkinen's tail. Hakkinen trying to recover from the spin, which might have damaged his tyres, leading to a little slide like that on the way onto one of the corners on this infield section. Gurney puts his nose in. Hakkinen slides through the corner, runs wide. I think Hakkinen's just accepted that Gurney's got him, although Gurney's taken a massive lump of curb. Hakkinen wasn't thinking about sending it out the inside, because that could have been the move that got it done. Hakkinen though does have the power advantage over Gurney, so if he can keep these tyres going, just get him down the straight. Gurney's wide to the final corner. Hakkinen a bit loose if he gets on the power. He's in the slipstream, the straight's just not long enough. And he's compromised his line so much here that Jenson Button might get a run. Button for Harvey racing down the back straight. Up the inside of Hakkinen, he's got the inside line. Hakkinen sweeps around the outside. It's a fast and wide corner, so you can hold it around the outside if you're feeling brave enough. But Button up the inside in turn 4. You do what he can. It's a very long, even longer corner, over 180 degrees, but no, Hakkinen's got the downforce to keep it around the outside. The downforce will of course have helped him. Button tries up the inside into one of those, what's that, turn 6, that's a tricky kink. You don't want to have a crash there because it's not far to the tyres, and the tyres there are very hard. It's a game, they don't bend properly. Who knows? Hulkenberg still leads, Felix Costa still second, Moss still third. Unless anything happens, this looks like we're waiting for a pit stop to change this all around. Pavlovic is keeping up, but not as much as he'd like to, but he's still got an enormous lead over Senna. Because the rest of this lot can't get past the Falcons. The Falcons don't have any pace. They don't have any pace, but they've got a lot of grunt. So Prost and Senna really holding everyone up. Unfortunately, two of the slowest drivers on the grid when it comes to the speed stats. But they've got themselves a quick car. And these better drivers with better cars in the corners are finding that corners on this track are all on long straights, and it's just enough for the Falcons to get ahead, and they can't find somewhere to move. So look, Rossi gaining through the corner, but as soon as we get to the straight, the Falcon power blasts it away. Both struggling out of turn 8. Is it 8? Yeah. Struggling out of turn 8. Into the penultimate turn. And the final corner, which again, the Excelsior with its high downforce should be monstrous through. Which it is. But then we hit the straight and the Falcon is just disappearing off into the distance. Here we go. Lap 15 already, Phil Hill. He's getting a bit worried about his tyres, and he's coming in this lap for a tyre change. Beitske Visser the same thing, as is Gurney and Hakkinen and Button. Hulkenberg, the race leader, will also be in this lap, and Hamilton. So, first round of pit stops on the way here as John Watson's putting some pressure on Phil Hill. Heading through 3 and into 4. Hill keeps the position. What's the plan here? Hulkenberg Pitting this lap, he's obviously burned his tyres up trying to drive them quick. At the end of lap 15, you know, if the tyres are only lasting 15 or so laps, there's going to be a 3-stop race. I don't actually know about tyre compound changes when they happen. It's further back. Rossi has finally got past Alain Prost. We're right on board here with the Excelsior driver. So Prost is coming in this lap. That much we know. Prost is pulled away down the straight, but Rossi has braked so much later and has just decided to throw it up the inside. Now that Prost gets out of the way, which, to be fair to him, he did. So Alexander Rossi up to 8th, which is about to be a lot more as everybody else gets ready to come in the pits. Hulkenberg slows it down, makes it in the lane. Moss now pressuring Felix Costa here. He's close enough to think about a move into turn 1. I need to check that Felix Costa didn't get held up by his teammate through the final corner. Hulkenberg, a really big slide. Not quite, nearly did. So both of them now coming in this lap. Pavlovic is staying out another. More cars file into the lane as Scott Dixon's front wing has come flying off. He caught up with somebody trying to enter the pit lane a bit wonkily. So Hakkinen slows it down to go, and Hakkinen runs wide. Dixon, that's unlucky. He tries to cut inside Hakkinen, who's trying to get into the pit lane. Everyone else seems to have made it in fine. Not much more damage. Dixon in 10th as Hulkenberg exits the pits. Right next to Dixon and accidentally flies past Dixon. That was speedy. That was scary if you're Scott Dixon. The Hulkenberg comes out the pits, so his entire pit stop ahead of Dixon, although Dixon actually had to struggle through the first corner. Chops him right off. Here we go, so Dixon sees Hakkinen run wide, tries to go to the inside. Hakkinen drives in, doesn't know Dixon's there. He's then struggling through the first corner. He sees this DTK absolutely fly past about the pit lane. How close do you want to go? Obviously very. So Felix Costa seems to have broken the toe on Moss, who's lost some time, but Felix Costa really slided through turn 8. And through 9 and into 10. And Moss has fallen back. Is Pavlovic going to have a good chance to overcut both of them, or probably not? Senna and Heidfeld not coming in yet. Neither is Rossi or Watson. So a few of them staying out a bit longer. In the case of can Hamilton jump the Falcon and his teammate once they've had their stops? So Pavlovic takes the lead as Felix Costa and Moss make it in. Senna's going to go through into second with Heidfeld. Heidfeld coming in this lap. Actually, they're all coming in this lap. Rossi going to go through. Watson up into 5th, coming in this lap. Yeah, so here's Hulkenberg. Felix Costa has exited ahead of Moss. Hulkenberg blazes past him, so the let's see, what's that? 1.8, 1.9. Okay, so the undercut is pretty effective here. And it's just got Dixon who's done a lap without a front wing, in which case you're screwed. Hamilton is now 12 seconds behind Moss. It's quite a lot, unfortunately. So the top 7 now coming in this lap. So Hulkenberg will resume the race lead. Pavlovic, I don't think is going to get past Moss. Really just got to worry about everyone else. Prost down to 16th. Hakkinen with him and he's been jumped by Jenson Button. So Prost had a horrible pit stop somewhere. Phil Hill is now battling Lewis Hamilton, so he is, yes, he's got past Prost in all of this by a long way. Yeah, Moss has got far back to Felix, Costa and Hulkenberg is streaking away up ahead. Vettel gets it slowed down for the pit lane. Verstappen, Watson, Rossi, Pavlovic and Senna go through. I'm trying to find the Hulk. There we go. So Hulkenberg's leading now. Felix, Costa now into second. Moss third, Pavlovic exiting the pits, but he's miles behind Moss really. Senna is fifth and quite a long way ahead of Hamilton. It really is. Heidfeld's exiting the pits, as is Rossi. So Rossi has jumped Hamilton in this pit stop. So everything I just said about undercut, you can throw in the bin. Visser is now 10th and 11th, battling. Okay, Verstappen up to 10th. So Verstappen's had a really good pit stop. Watson has lost out massively in all of this. Gurney has done quite well. Prost is the biggest loser, I think, and Hakkinen has also fallen away. Actually, well, Dixon is the biggest loser, but he lost his front wing, so he had a mitigating circumstance. So really, the first set of pit stops has kind of spread everyone out so far. Hulkenberg takes the lead quite comfortably now, 2.5 seconds over Felix Costa. He's got another 2.5 back to Moss, who's really got to worry more about his teammate and challenging up ahead. Senna in 5th will do what he can. Whether that's anything is anyone's guess. But Senna has got 3 seconds now over Heidfeld, so that has gone very well for him. That aspect has been sensational. Rossi up to 7th now, so he's made up 3 places from his grid slot. As it's Hamilton versus Hill here for 8th place. This is kind of our big battle at the moment. Heading down towards turn 2, under the bridge. And yeah, you can see directly ahead of you that big circular structure. That is the football stadium, which held some matches in the World Cup. I will just find out which matches were held there. And see if there's anything particularly. Switzerland beat Ecuador, Colombia beat Ivory Coast, Brazil beat Cameroon, Portugal beat Ghana, France beat Nigeria, Argentina beat Belgium, and Netherlands beat Brazil in the 3rd place match at that stadium. So there you go. Unfortunately, it's not the famous 7-1 stadium. I think that was Belo Horizonte. Don't quote me on that, because I cannot be bothered to Google it right now, because I've got a race to commentate on. The gap between Heidfeld and Senna is starting to come down. Pavlovic is falling away from Moss, who is starting to catch up to Felix, who is slower than Hulkenberg, who has set the fastest lap of the race. Dixon is now 17 seconds off anybody else, but he has got a front wing now, which is nice. Hakkinen's free fall back to 17th. It's been not that pretty, and he's not looking likely to move up anymore at the moment. Prost in 16th is going to be thinking, where did it all go wrong? You know, I was praising him at the beginning, he made up 2? Well, no, he made up 4 places in Saturday. He's now lost 4, so somehow in all this pit stop window, Prost has lost 8 places. Well, 7 because he got overtaken by an Excelsior, but it's a mystery really. Prost in the Falcon has had a disaster in the pit stops. The Harveys battling with each other a bit as Buttons lifts off on the exit of the corner for no apparent reason. Gurney sits and watches as Watson is going to challenge both the NLEs. Let's just do a little speed comparison between the two KF1s with the high downforce and short gears against the NLEs with the low downforce and the long gears. So Watson in the slipstream and Visser in the slipstream. This is doing 198 before the brakes. Watson I didn't see. That's clever of me. I have two sides to get back to Hakkinen. Watson now really in the slipstream now. He is close to Visser. He's able to follow with his high downforce through turn 2. He's going to challenge through 4. Is this going to be a move for Watson? This is looking a bit wide through 5 and 6. And I think we have a car off in the background. It's Alain. Prost has had a massive accident. Prost has had a big crash at turn 4. The Prost here is not really battling anyone. And oh, something's gone wrong at the back there and he's found the tyres. That is a monster shunt for Prost. So just before the braking point, something has snapped at the back and he's lost the rear. Run along the wall and found the tyres. That is an enormous accident for Alain Prost. Trying to get a different camera angle. Yeah, so it's just hit the brakes. Something's gone wrong. Sideways on the grass, nearly in the wall. Counter steering, but it just straightens up as it hits the wall. Bounces along, runs along the wall, and the tyre wall begins. No give in the virtual tyre walls, and Prost is out the race. What a thunderous thump. At 193 miles an hour he lost it at, and he's hit that wall at about 9. Is it 193? 193 is when he's hit the brakes, and that's when something snapped. He's turned against it. That's not gone well. He's lost the rear. He's trying to catch it, but it's a one-way trip to the wall. How hard do you want to hit it, mate? Well, let's just say you're only just under 100 miles an hour when you hit that wall. Alain Prost is the first retirement of the race and the season. Scott Dixon, you've made a place up there. Yeah, lucky boy. So yeah, let's hope Prost is okay, but he should be fine for the next race. Yeah, bit of excitement there. Top 4, top 5, top 6, 7, yeah, the rest of them seem fine. Hill's still chasing Hamilton, that's what I was looking for. John Watson has got past Beitske Visser, so that's what I was thinking. Watson was looking close to making a move on Visser, and it is, it's into turn 8. Up on the curb, runs her out wide, through 9 into 10, showboating on the curb. Watson up a place. Watson's actually under pressure here through the final corner. That's what I was trying to follow before we were rudely interrupted by Alain Prost having a monster shunt. Yeah, so Visser was doing 197 in 6th gear last lap at the end of this straight. Watson now, also in 6th gear, only 187. So really struggling with the high downforce, but now we've got some corners coming up. Watson should be able to pull away from Visser. There should be more pace in that 2KF1. As the season goes on and power goes up, longer gears are going to look like a smarter investment every day. I think, yeah, so Hakkinen, having seen that one place is improved with Prost out of the way, thinking, right, I need to pull my socks up, get my skates on, start whizzing forwards, get back to where I should have been before my silly spin and terrible pit stop. So Hakkinen sat right on Jenson Button's gearbox now. Trying to work out where he passed, but he's lifted off because he got too close and he's bottled it. Absolutely bottled it. I think we'll go up ahead and follow Phil Hill, who chases down Hamilton. it just doesn't have the power of the CAS. There's 0.05 percent of power difference between the two. That's quite a bit. And it's showing. It's showing because Hill cannot keep up with Hamilton, but Excelsiors have got the downforce in the corners, as I've been saying, and they've shown resilience. They've really shown proper resilience previously to make the moves work in the middle sector, where it's all corners. You know, outbrake them here, get close to them, and you've got the downforce. Just send it on the inside of the next corner. It's wide enough. It is wide enough, turn 8. And do what you want through there, really. And they're just going to have to jump out your way. But he hasn't been brave enough yet. A lot of curb. Hill can just follow Hamilton here for the penultimate corner. Into the last turn. Yeah, look, Hamilton's wide, but I suppose Phil Hill was wide there as well. So I can't really lambast one and praise the other when they both made the same mistake. Hill now right in the tail of Hamilton. He's in the slipstream, but it's just the gap is increasing. Hamilton's got so much more power and you can't keep up. Hakkinen is again trying to pressure Button into turn 2. It's not going to work. Not this lap at least. Hamilton's now to sit through this middle sector with Hill on his tail, hoping against hope that Excelsior doesn't decide to send out the inside. Turn 7 isn't really an overtaking move unless you're right on them and you're feeling brave. Really it's a case of set them up for the next turn. But Hill isn't able to do it. Verstappen having to worry here about Watson. John Watson looking for that top 10 finish. We can get his team there. Watson sideways through turn 9. Lots of curb, lost the rear. Kept it going though. And he's still going through 11. Up towards the final corner. Yeah, quick track here in Brasilia. It certainly does seem to be favouring the power cars. Last 2 seasons we did start the year at Interlagos in Sao Paulo and finish with the Brazilian track, but for some variety this year we've started with the Brazilian Grand Prix at the random Brazilian circuit, and the Automobilista Grand Prix this year will be held at Interlagos. You haven't lost Sao Paulo, it's just changed title and moved to be the season closer rather than the season opener. Just to see what happens, see something different. Phil Hill not finding a place to make the move yet. On the CAS racing car, defending drivers and constructors champions in 8th place. The season 1 champions in 10th place. It's not gone great so far for everyone. What's in 11th? Lots of Nokia branding on that 2KF1. There is. There really is. Surprised it doesn't say John Mika on the side of them, but it's just not a certain South Korean car brand. No, it's not No Hyundai. I think we know where their services lie. Hill is still trying to work out a way past Hamilton. It's worth pointing out, see how Rossi's in 7th, and Heidfeld is 6th now, getting close to Senna now. Could see this move pretty soon. But up front, let's go to this one. So 26 laps about to be completed when Hulkenberg gets past the start line. Hulkenberg has led this from the start, made the early pit stops, hasn't led every lap, but he effectively has. 1.8 seconds has got over his teammate Felix to Costa in second place. Moss in third and Pavlovic in fourth. These drivers are basically where they started. The top four, yes, they are where they started. But big gap though from Pavlovic back to Senna. He's got Heidfeld right on his tail. We head towards turn 1. We'll just see if this is a move that happens. Bumping down the back straight, getting a bit wiggly. But not a move that's going to happen yet. Senna in 5th, up 2 places from where he started. Good job from him so far. Driving his nuts off that overpowered, underwell driven car. Heidfeld down the 1, but he's not fallen back as far as his teammate has, so that's something. Rossi up 3 places to 7th, so he's also having a good debut race of the season. They'll be hoping that a few more places are discovered as this goes on. Hamilton in 8th, defending champion, with Phil Hill right behind. Really thinking about a move at some point. Not happened yet, but this might be Hill's best chance. He's going to look to the inside. He really does look to the inside into turn 8. They're side by side through 8. What's going to happen through 9? Hill's got the move down. He takes another curb. Hamilton not going to make a dive into turn whatever number that is, 10. That's the one. Not going to make the move into 10. And Hill takes the position. So Hill up to 8. Back to where he started. So Hamilton's down 3 now. So not happy hunting ground for Hamilton on his championship defence. Max Verstappen up from 17th on the grid into 10th. So impressive drive from the NLE driver. With John Watson on his recovery drive back up into 11th so far after a wonky pit stop. Visser's up to 12th. Decent start, but really being outshone by a teammate. Gurney's up from the last on the grid to 13th place, so impressive drive from the City Pop driver. Vettel and Button, the Harveys are being a bit anonymous at the moment. The only thing that they've got is that they're ahead of Hakkinen. Hakkinen's had an eventful race, tried to go 3 wide, spun, then had a poor pit stop, and it's just painful for Hakkinen since then. Scott Dixon in 17th, having lost his front wing in a collision with Hakkinen, but it's his debut, so give him something. Alain Prost, of course, out the race after a monster shunt. Hulkenberg crosses the line to start lap 29, so we're now over halfway to this race. They've all had 1 stop, so unless they stop pretty soon, we should hopefully, oh no, if they stopped on 15, they'd probably stop at about 30 and then 45, so we could still be on for a 3 stop, but probably going to be a 2 stop. They'll try and go longer on this second bunch of tyres. Watch as I flick back and there are some people wanting to come in this lap. It'll happen. It'd be hilarious if it did. Well, also wouldn't. Watson on Verstappen. Is this going to be the move yet? No, it's not. They're both sliding into the corner. The tyres are looking a bit rough, I must say. So perhaps they are considering a pit stop soon. Battle for 10th isn't over. Where it's at though is this, the battle for 5th. Got Rossi with all the downforce at the back. Heidfeld with all the driving skill in the front. And Senna with all the power out the front. Holding them all up. Trying to see who's got the moves. Senna's got the grunt down that straight, and it's Heidfeld under pressure from Rossi now, as we've had all the corners. Now into a long section of straights, effectively, which should favour the low drag, low downforce Cass and the Falcon, both of which got a lot more power in the Excelsior, and you can see the gap already increasing. Heidfeld wheeling down the straight. Trying to make a little Senna, but straight's just not long enough for him at the moment. Although Senna's quite happy where it is. Long enough that he can pull away, but not long enough that anybody else more powered is going to get past him. It's turn 4 to go hard for a little bit of a twitch on the way in. Gets it settled and keeps it going. Down to 5 and 6 into 7. Big breaking point for Heidfeld. Well, goes for everyone. They're on board with Heidfeld. Rossi, oh no, Heidfeld's really streaked away up there. I don't think Rossi's going to think about a move yet. I think Rossi's waiting for Heidfeld to make a move on Senna. And if he does it in a corner, he can make a move on the both of them. If Rossi was braver, he would have tried there. He had launch. Heidfeld pulling away under acceleration. Senna's pulled away a lot because Heidfeld's had a scruffy middle sector there. Yeah, 27.0, 26.9, 26.9. So Rossi was slightly slower than them over the whole lap. There we go, Phil Hill and Lewis Hamilton getting ready to pit this lap, so yes, Hulkenberg, so we are pretty much on for a 3-stop it would seem. So the high speed corners here at Brasilia really are tearing their tyres up. It's a tricky course this, it's going to be pretty physical on the drivers. Hill's got 1.4 seconds down Hamilton, so he really was quicker. Really was quicker than them. As hang on, Gurney's got past Visser somewhere and I didn't see that. But Gurney now up into 12th. Impressive drive from him as Watson had a bit of a slide through there. Rossi now right on Heidfeld again. None of these are pitting yet. So this battle is going to last a little bit longer. That's right, so Felix to Costa staying out, Hulkenberg and Moss has had to come in before Felix to Costa. So, can Moss get the undercut on Felix to Costa? Or will Pavlovic manage to overcut them? Rossi tries he might, can't really stay close to Heidfeld and back straight. None of them are coming in this lap. Heidfeld's not making a move. That's not happening. Hulkenberg joins quite safely as Moss has got Verstappen and Watson right on their tail. But new tyres should streak away quite easily. Hakkinen's coming in this lap, but Hamilton and Hill have made their stop. So Hamilton has jumped Phil Hill in the pit stops. That is going to annoy the Excelsior crew. That is not what they needed. Having worked so hard to get past the car they were stuck behind. They're now going to do it all over again. Rossi again, right on the back of Heidfeld, but I don't think he's willing to move into turn 10. No one's tried it yet. Even though that probably is the place where Rossi is closest. So Pavlovic is going to carry on and take the lead of the race. He's going to pick at the end of the lap. Felix to Costa makes his stop. Rossi's fallen away a bit. Yeah, 1 second back from Heidfeld now. Hulkenberg exits the final corner. He should easily get past Felix Costa. Yes, he does get past Felix Costa. Where is Moss? Right on board with Stirling Moss. Felix on the inside, much shorter line. Is Moss going to make it? Is Moss going to make it? They are side by side. Felix Costa in the slipstream. Is he going to move? No, he's not. Stirling Moss has managed to undercut Felix da Costa, so Moss up into second now. Well, next second, okay, it's 6th, but you know what I mean. Get excited, boys. Pavlovic slides it under braking. The 7th Heidfeld going to go another lap. before pitting. Rossi's decided that his tyres are starting to go in this attack and he's going to slow down. He's burned them up trying to keep up. He'll make his pit stop and get through. Try and undercut the pair of them. You see just now with Moss, the undercut does work as Verstappen is really struggling with his tyres with Watson right behind. Vettel is super wide at turn 8. His tyres have properly gone if that's what's going on. So Pavlovic stops in the pits. Senna goes through and Heidfeld goes through to take the lead, but they're both pitting. Pavlovic exits, but Hulkenberg is through. Rossi comes into the pit, so Rossi's making his stop. Verstappen comes in, as Watson carries on. Pavlovic is going to exit around John Watson. Are you going to get ahead? He is. Watson hasn't got an answer to the red light. Felix Costa now stuck behind Moss. Hulkenberg up ahead. So Heidfeld, without Rossi pressuring him, has managed to lose pace to the Falcon. Hulkenberg on his fresh tyres is probably out here trying to do the fastest lap now because he's already got it. So, Senna and Heidfeld coming in, it's the battle with Rossi that matters. Has Rossi managed to find enough pace on this outlap to deal with the pace of those guys on the slower tyres? We'll find out pretty soon. He said it worked for Moss this time round. Has Rossi paid off, or did he lose too much time on his in lap? Because he dropped from about half a second to 1.3. We'll ride here with Rossi. Then to his penultimate corner, so he's actually got a long way to make up. He's reaching the final corner. Senna and Heidfeld at the pit lane exit. I think they've got him. I think they've really got past him. Rossi's in lap was terrible, and his pit stop and out lap haven't been the greatest. Now look at that, 2.5 seconds. Although that 2.5 seconds is what Senna's now got on Heidfeld, so not gone well for him. Here is stuck back there. Gurney has jumped up ahead. Even more in this pit window, so Visser has dropped behind Watson, so Watson's now got Gurney between him and Verstappen. This is on 13th, Button up to 14. Hakkinen has finally jumped, well he's not jumped Button, but he's jumped Vettel thanks to his off-track run. So Hakkinen is now in the points. Scott Dixon has made his stop and he's 9 seconds off the back of the pack, so that's slightly better, but not by much. So after all this extra phase of pit stops has worked out, we have Felix to Costa set the fast, so that's a Nico. Hulkenberg now leads by 3 seconds over Stirling Moss, although Moss has now got Felix to Costa behind, who was just set fastest lap. That is going to be tricky to deal with, I think, for Moss, but I'll see what you do. Race winner, of course, in Adelaide last year. Felix to Costa yet to taste victory, but he did get podium in Japan, I think. Yeah, I think it was Japan last year, where everything we expected to happen didn't. It all got thrown out the window. Japan was... If you're new to Global Formula Automobilista, yeah. Japan and Global Formula Automobilista, if you haven't seen last year's race, the Japanese Grand Prix was something else. Absolute chaos from start to finish. Big crash on the first lap. Leaders dropping out everywhere. A pit stop that won Meme of the Year and Unluckiest Moment of the Year. and almost won Felix to Costa overtake of the year. No, it wasn't Japan that he got voted, it was Australia, where Moss got the victory, yes. But still, Felix da Costa did star in that little moment through the pit lane. Yeah, just watch Japan last year if you've not seen it. It's worth it. It's worth the entire thing. Anyway, back to this race. So Pavlovic is now nearly 6 seconds behind Felix da Costa, 12 seconds ahead of 5th place Senna, who has lost half a second to Heidfeld since the pit stop. So Heidfeld's quicker, but he's now going to make up all that time and burn his tyres up, and therefore not really have any tyres left to make the overtake. Rossi's in the same boat, having to burn his tyres up to catch up, but he's got the grip for the corners, so he might be quite good to be there. Hamilton's got Phil Hill back to play with again. Verstappen is now defending 10th place. This is going to be a different one. Gurney. What to 11th? So he is from back of the grid, pretty close to getting into the top 10, which would be pretty damn impressive. Watson now in 12th. 2KF1 have had some awful pit stops, it must be said. So 2KF1 need to work on their pit stops. Visser now in 13th. I think a relatively so-so debut. Hakkinen again up 15th because Vettel flew wide at turn 8 on his lap before his in-lap. So yeah, that's how they all line up. There's Phil Hill. We'll go back with him as he chases down Lewis Hamilton. Looks like the closest battle on track, although Moss and Felix da Costa are also right with each other. This isn't going to move. Heading out of 7 towards 8. Felix is definitely too far back for a move into here, although Moss is super wide. He's got a bit of a slide on the way in. But Felix is slow on the throttle and falls away. Up to the final turn. Moss again, getting it tricky through there, bit of a slide. Felix just isn't close enough to properly capitalise, or he's not having perfect exits that he needs. He gets down to 3/10, and if Moss makes a proper mistake, yeah, Felix is through, but he's not making enough of a mistake that Felix can pounce. He needs to force Moss to make a proper slide, get it really wrong, and that's when you make moves. Little lift there through turn 6, that surprises me, although the massive bump in the middle of it doesn't surprise me that they might not want to take it flat out. It might be driver comfort more than anything. Felix sitting where he can. How's that doing? Getting slightly more power in the back of the DTK, but it's only minuscule. This is why Felix hasn't blasted past so far. Hamilton and Hill, the back brake 9th, that is still just as close as this one in for here for second. So we're keeping an eye on both at the moment really. It's 10th down to 15th is a big group of 6 cars, all squabbling for pretty much the same piece of track, it must be said. There's the bump you saw through 6. Lovely spits of flames from the exhaust in this rear view camera. Struggling to get the power down, of course. It's new engines, new cars for the drivers, and of course new tyres. First time they've all driven on groove tyres. Groove 6 that drives slightly different, and now, was that the moment that Felix Costa needed? Moss, massive twitch on the extra 10. Felix is following in through 11. Gets on the brakes a bit early, sees what Moss does for the final corner. I don't think he's capitalised as much as he wanted to, or what he could have done. We are in the slipstream though, and a good extra turn 1. And Felix Costa could have him, but oh, he's been wide. He's not that great on the exit. We're closing up. We're closing up. But turn 2 comes too soon for there to be a proper move. Felix Costa, seeing Moss make a mistake, hasn't capitalised on all of this. Hulkenberg got 4.5 seconds up in front. He is motoring away at the front for a win in his debut. Yeah, lift through 6 again, although it's well after the bump, so obviously they're just trying to preserve the tyres through there. Ross still struggling. I think the pressure's on him to keep Felix Costa behind, because he knows the pace of the DTK is strong. He doesn't want to see it get ahead and disappear. That's what Moss is struggling with. Into the first turn they go. When I said first, I meant final. After turn 1, heading down the back straight. Moss is keeping the gap at about 3/10, which is enough to keep him ahead of positions. So further back, the Senna, Heidfeld and Rossi charge has kind of fallen flat since the pit stop. As 2.3 separates them. Heidfeld's found a second since his pit stop, but a second and no more. That seems to be it so far for the cast driver. He tries to adjust to the new team, new surroundings, new car. Racing in maroon and yellow rather than the teal he's driven in before. Rossi sat here in 7th. Another American driver parachuted into the Excelsior team. See how well he can do. As Phil Hill is once again right on the tail of Hamilton. He's been doing this all the time and making a move close to the end of the tyre life. They're both struggling out of turn 8. Through and on into the hairpin. Hill, well, he wants to do something. He really does want to make a move. He just doesn't have the power when he needs it. Oh, they're going for the inside. Phil Hill, what a stunning move right up the inside of the final corner. Catches Hamilton completely by surprise and gets him, but Hamilton has got the power to get it straight back into turn 1. And a little bit of a slipstream he picks up, and he powers past into turn 2, and he pulls back in front of Phil Hill to stop him trying to outbrake him and send it round the outside. So, impressive bit of driving from Hill, finally found the gap. But in reality, it was just the wrong place to do it. And look, he's in the slipstream, he's doing fine. He just sees the gap and decides, I'm going to go for this. But the corner's so fast and so wide that you can run wide and get an exit still. Ayrton, there's 3 straights in a row after this. So if he didn't make it into turn 1, he was going to make it into turn 2, and if he didn't make it there, he probably got past into turn 4. He'll just need to sit behind now, but he knows he's got Hamilton rocking. Hamilton knows that Hill is now really there, and he can do anything. Hamilton's got the high ground at the moment, both the metaphorical and the literal. He's up ahead, but Hill knows that he can try and shake out Hamilton if he needs to. Try to scare him out of the way. 3-car battle here for 10th is really hotting up as they managed to completely drop Beitske Visser back down 13th. Gurney is following Verstappen as much as he can. He's got the high downforce and he's, well, in the same way that Hill is trying to find somewhere to make a move that deals with the quicker car in a straight line. It's up ahead of him. And there is place in the middle section. There are places around the cornery section on the infield that you can make a move, but nobody's trying it. As I've said a few times, the hairpin at turn 10, that's a great place to just send a dial up the inside, but I think the thing is, the corner is so relatively quick and so sweeping that nobody wants to risk their nose cone with a move there. Hill and Hamilton, nothing's changed with these two again. The bump on the brake as they're heading to 7. Hill is right there. Hamilton's just got power. Got enough power to keep it going. Keep it ahead. Heidfeld brought the gap down on Senna down to below a second, so this is probably building up to being something that changes at pit stops more than anything. Moss, now that he's fended off Felix to Costa, is starting to make a move back towards Hulkenberg in the DTK, but nothing so far significant enough to warrant worrying Hulkenberg. Hakkinen out to 14th, having got past Jenson Button. Right behind Visser, and that was a really solid exit out the first corner. Visser's got the grunt and the gearing down the straight though, so Hakkinen's gonna have to sit behind, but unfortunately the pit crew have been pretty useless. 2K1 have not had any luck in the pit stops. And that's a worry. That's a worry for the team. As they've got some pretty crucial battles that are coming up that they want to win. They want to get ahead. You know, Hakkinen wants to get past Visser, and Watson wants to get past both Gurney and Verstappen. So how's that going to end up? Right. There you go, 10 laps to go. Nico Hulkenberg coming in for a new set of tyres. Who's going to keep it going longest? Could someone like Pavlovic, who pitted 3 or 4 laps after Hulkenberg, just drop his pace a bit, try and 2-stop it across the line? There's only 7 more laps that he'd have to do than Hulkenberg's tyres. Yes, Hulkenberg would probably fly past when he gets there. But is it worth a gamble? Well, we'll have to see if Red Knight think about it that way. Moss and Felix to Costa. They've got into their status quo. Felix Costa's dropped back to half a second. Heidfeld's now right in the back of Senna. So they have pit stop window when they appear. Who's going to get the jump after 2 of them? Or is Rossi going to somehow find some pace here, catch up to the both of them, and then get past in their pit stops? Hill hasn't made the move yet. as the two grippy cars struggle to get past Verstappen. Verstappen's also coming in this lap. Now Moss. So Moss is going to get out of Felix Costa's way. So this is Felix Costa's chance. Can he undercut or overcut Moss? Or Moss should disappear up ahead. Pavlovic is looking safe and secure. Hulkenberg has turned up in the middle of the Heidfeld versus Senna battle. So this could play into Moss and Felix Costa's hands. Hulkenberg is stuck having to battle past cars that aren't too much slower than him in a straight line. I mean, yes, he had 4 seconds to play with, but there's been some terrible pit stops. And of course Hulkenberg's front wing could always get removed in all this mess. And they could also still not pit, which would be a surprise, but it's not in the realms of possibility, I think. And I say about, lots of curb for Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg, yeah, that's a terrible pun, please ignore that I ever said that. Actually, if you did hear that, just so I know that you have actually watched this far rather than skipping to the end, if you heard me, please comment Hulkenberg in the comments down below on YouTube. Let's have some fun with this. So, Moss is exiting the pits and he's a long way behind Hulkenberg actually. Oh no, that's not done anything to help him. He's 3 seconds behind. Rossi is 4 seconds behind. It's Heidfeld there. Under pressure. Hulkenberg's not able to get past Heidfeld, so he had a go into the corner. Didn't make it stick. Let's just watch what happened. The DTK is just put his nose at the inside. Heidfeld's giving him room, but he's found grip on the outside line. There's a lot of curb to play with if you get it wrong. So Hulkenberg currently in 5th place. He's got 2 drivers ahead of him who haven't pitted yet. Going to bump through that horrible bump. Rossi is sticking with them because Heidfeld's battling is going to allow Rossi to catch up. Moss is flying here, so it's 3 seconds he's brought it down to. Hulkenberg finally makes the move on Nick Heidfeld into turn 8. Through 9, he's not taking any curb, he's now got to deal with Senna. Hulkenberg's going to get past Senna, and the thing that Moss is thinking is these two are all probably going to pit and get out of the way. And if Nico destroys his tyres in the process of trying to make these overtakes, I have some nice fresh ones for the end of the race. I can catch up and make the move, and that would be epic. So Hulkenberg trying to have a go at Senna now. He's in the slipstream. Got the power. Sends up the inside into 2. Is Senna going to fight back? No, he's not. Hulkenberg gets a couple of overtakes done. Rossi gets to come in. Moss now is going to be disheartened now that there's 3 cars between him and Hulkenberg. Pavlovic's 2nd place is still going. Felix Costa is on to come in this lap though. So his tyres have cried out enough now. And he's going to try and use this as a chance to get back past Sterling Moss. Will he make it? Hulk looks way too close for Felix Costa to have any chance of jumping him. Senna and Heidfeld are not getting out of the way yet, but Rossi is. So Rossi's going to have the fresh tyres, and he's not lost time like Heidfeld and Senna have trying to battle with Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg, having made the overtake, has also set fastest lap, just to show off. Pavlovic takes the lead. Moss has got past Felix across, but Felix is right there. He's not going to make the move, so battle for second is now pretty strong. Felix has I think he's got 3 laps fresher tyres than Moss. Not there's long left in the race, they probably could just drive flat out and burn them up. Verstappen at 7th, but he's in his pit. Watson's fallen away. Rossi's down to 9th, but he's ahead of Vettel. He's got to pit. Hamilton further down, and Hamilton has got so far ahead of Phil Hill, so Excelsior had a horrible pit stop. For Hill, who's now got Gurney to play with. Dang, Gurney now, trying to make a move on Phil Hill. It's turn 2. Gurney makes the move stick. Super pop past Excelsior. Hakkinen is now 14th. So everyone down. Yeah, so Pavlovic is still going. He's doing a pretty impressive job. He's currently sat out front. But will he take this as a chance to just stay out and keep going? And hope that they don't catch him off as his tyres die? Or is he just going to pit for safety? Felix to Costa and chasing Moss, who's just set the fastest lap. Felix might have been quicker on the lap, but we won't know because he was of course in the pit stop, so his first section would have been tragic. Not allowing a very good lap time at all. Yeah, Moss is now caught up to Heidfeld and Senna, neither of whom are actually pitting well this lap at the moment. And Moss is blistering pace. He's just going to start to wane and be an issue. He's got some really dead tyres up ahead of him that he's going to have to try and overtake, and they're squabbling and they don't want to get out of the way. Felix sets fastest lap 25.2. He thinks about moving to turn 1. He thinks about the move. He doesn't just think about it. He doesn't. Felix to Costa sends it at the inside. Moss is around the outside. He's kept the space. Felix has got the inside turn 2. Moss is going to try and high side it around the top. Got the inside 3, and Moss takes the position off Felix. So Moss keeps his 5th that he lost into turn 1, and this has given Heidfeld a little bit of a respite. He chases after Senna, and they battle up ahead. They're not pitting. Pavlovic isn't pitting either, so perhaps he is trying to go to the end. That would be an incredible bit of driving. That's probably the only thing that's going to hold back Hulkenberg apart from squeaky bum time, which I don't think we're going to hit because the drivers are so quick around here. Senna third, holding off Heidfeld. As Moss and Felix Costa are starting to think, hang on, we might actually have to overtake these two. These two might be trying to go to the end, and if they are, oh dear. Verstappen and Watson might be in the same boat as both Excelsiors made their stops. They might be looking at drivers who got the jump on them. Moss chasing Heidfeld and Senna, who are not coming in this lap. Answer Pavlovic. So, has Pavlovic done some real big brain plays here? Somehow sneak a win out after Hulkenberg. 4 drivers here in the battle for 3rd place. We're trying to get past as Senna, who's spent the entire race holding other drivers up. He's doing great. A great job of holding up as Felix to Costa. He launches out the inside of Moss into turn 4. He's being held by Heidfeld. And there's contact with Felix and Stirling as they go through turn 5 side by side. 6 over the bump. Who's going to break first? Moss on the curb. Felix on the outside curb. Moss on the inside at 7. They're side by side again down the back straight as Felix da Costa has pulled off one of probably the overtakes of this championship. That was a stunning bit of driving from the pair of them. So Moss is following Heidfeld, not really doing anything. Felix thinks, oh, there's a gap there, I'm going to take it. Moss holds it round the outside. Heidfeld blocks Felix in. Felix can see Moss coming up the inside. He's got the inside for both these corners. Moss takes curve on the inside. Felix takes a lot of curve on the outside. Moss puts his nose in. Felix gets the move done on the outside. Fantastic driving for the pair of them. Verstappen in 7th, with Watson right behind Rossi, who set the fastest lap. So Excelsior has got the pace. Just can't overtake anyone. Shall take the Hamilton down to 11th after his 3rd stop. Getting Hakkinen in the back end. Visser. Bottom. Phil Hill is down in 16th. What has gone wrong? What's gone wrong for Phil Hill? I don't know. But it's just not working out for him. Pavlovic has got 3 laps to go. And he could big brain everyone. Pavlovic on his debut has 2 stops so far. Hulkenberg has 3 stops, and he's, well, that battle he had with Senna and Heidfeld might have cost him his win. I mean, I don't think he lost 10 seconds, but he would have taken the shine off the tyres and made Pavlovic stick to the plan. Senna now, we've got to sit there, and Heidfeld is doing a great job at holding Moss and Felix da Costa up, which is preserving the Falcon on the podium as it stands. Rossi has got past Watson somewhere. Where's this going to be? He's going to need to turn 2. It is Rossi's in the slipstream. He's already pulled out thinking about it, and he just newer tyres. That was an easy move. Not close enough for Verstappen yet. Felix da Costa right behind Heidfeld now. Heidfeld slides it through Ayrton. Felix up the inside. Felix da Costa moves up into 4th place. Yes, he does. Can Stirling Moss do the same thing? Moss follows into turn 10 straight away. So Heidfeld getting shuffled back. Those old tyres are starting to come really dead, and the quicker drivers starting to get past them. Felix da Costa from Senna. Where's it going to be? Could it be turn 1? It probably will be turn 1 looking at this. Up the inside. Pretty simple move, and Felix da Costa moves on to the podium. Senna's going to try and fight back. He got the slipstream. He's on the inside. Felix is probably going to have the grip on the outside. He does. And Moss will try and follow through, get up into 4th place. So Moss might be missing out on the podium here, unfortunately, but at the expense of his teammate winning. I mean, selfishly he won't like that, but realistically a win for the team in the first race of the season would be incredible. Rossi close to Verstappen. Can't make move into 2, probably will make it into 4. That's my guess. Although Watson's having a look at Rossi here. No, not happening. Senna's now see if he can hold off Moss. Moss is not that fast as it stands. And yes, these guys have big brained it and gone for a simple 1 stop. Or the 2 stop even. Pavlovic starting the final lap of his debut race. Seemed like an outsider this whole time. Was pitted twice, when a lot of others have pitted 3 times. Hulkenberg looked like he was going to win at a canter, and well, he's not. It's not happened like that, unless I'm not even going to say that. I think this Costa's now having got past. Really, it's a case of, can Stirling Moss get past Ayrton Senna for 4th place in this last lap? He thinks about it. There's contact! There's contact! Moss pushes Senna out of the way at his home Grand Prix. At turn 2, a little bit of contact, but Moss is through, and the tyre advantage meant this is probably inevitable. It wasn't the greatest. Heidfeld sends up the inside of Senna and gets past him at turn 4 as well. Senna loses 2 places in 3 corners. Back down to 6th. Rossi has got past Verstappen. And Watson down in 9th. But 2 corners to go. Serbian driver, new to the championship, new into Red Knight. They only scored their first podium and their first win last season, despite being one of the best quality teams in season 1. But Milos Pavlovic is going to come across the line to win the Brazilian Grand Prix. First race of Global Automobilista Season 3. And it's a win that I was not expecting. 4th fastest driver. Biggest IQ on the grid. Nico Hulkenberg takes deserved 2nd place. It probably should have been the win, but he didn't 3-stop. He was burning his tyres up so much. And he was having to pit so much earlier than everyone else. Always the first to pit, Hulkenberg. Felix Costa makes it 2 DTKs on the podium. Moss made it into 4th. Heidfeld across the line in 5th for Cass. And Senna in 6th. Rossi is going to come across the line for Excelsior in 7th. Good start to the season for them, or at least for him. Verstappen takes 8th ahead of John Watson, so 2 KF1 scoring the top 10 in the first race of the season. Brilliant for them. Vettel takes 10th for Harvey. He probably 2-stopped as well. That's the only reason he finished in the top 10, because they've not had the pace today. Hamilton's 11th was not the best result for a defending champion, but actually it was, because the only other time a defending champion had their first race, it was Verstappen, and it was one to forget. Hakkinen takes 12th off and takes the race to a spin. Gurney's climb to 11th ends up 13th after his pit stops. Visser takes 14th, Button 15th. Phil Hill, I have no idea where his pace went, but he ended up 16th, and actually Scott Dixon almost got past Hill at the end there. So Phil Hill's final laps were terrible. Is Alain Prost, surprisingly, only retiree. So there we go. As Pavlovic drifted into the pit lane to celebrate his victory. That was the Brazilian Grand Prix, first race of Season 3 of Global Formula Automobilista. I hope you've enjoyed the race. If you have, please chuck a like button on the video on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. If you're part of the championship, thank you for being part of it. If you're not part of the championship, it's 10 rounds to go. Plenty of points on offer and plenty of space on the grid. As you can see, we've only got 18 cars. We could do with more teams. If you have any interest in joining, please follow the link to the race department thread in the description and come and join us. It's going to be great fun. So, yes, that is it. So, thank you very much for watching. See you next time. The Australian Grand Prix. And from me, I'm going to say goodbye.